Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the bonus episode, or kind of OVA episode, for Kaiju number 8. This one's Hoshina's Day Off. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So it's not just Hoshina's Day Off, it's a lot of people, a lot of the main recurring characters had the day off, a lot of the third division in particular. It doesn't expressly tell you when this is taking place, but I'm assuming, because they recap it a little bit at the beginning with Ichikawa's recap of what happened in season 1. But I'd assume this is around episode 5, because I think episode 5 is that episode where that little training montage happened, if I remember correctly. So I'd assume this is happening sometime in that time frame, that they're having a day off. And it's just a conversation about what do they do on their day off? The only person, Kafka's recovering from an upset stomach because he stuffed himself. Ichikawa was initially working out because he's like, oh, day off, I can't wait. But then it's like, wait, what am I doing? I'm literally working out. I'm going through my workout routines. Like, wait, what do you actually do on your day off? It's like when you've been so focused on this and training to get stronger, and then all of a sudden, wait, what do I do on my downtime? It's like, I don't know actually what to do. Don't know what to do myself. And Hoshina makes fun of him. But it's like, hey, I got something important to do with. Iharu shows up because he was going to work on his bike, but then it's like, wait, oh, you saw Hoshina going off somewhere. Oh, he must be meeting a lady, which Ichikawa's like, nah, that's just not the type of person that he is. Like, no, Iharu's like, no, he deserves love. I'm not saying he doesn't, but that's more you being woman obsessed. The fact of the matter is, I don't see Hoshina like that, so they make a bet, and it involves them following him, which didn't need the end of the episode to tell me. It's like, Hoshina is extremely hypersensitive and very skilled, so of course he'd pick up on a bunch of amateurs following him. I mean, it's still funny when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Him nor Mina saw the Kafka twist coming, but to be fair, it's like, how do you expect that to happen? Of course you're going to get blindsided. Kaiju's disguising themselves as humans wasn't something you were aware of until it gets revealed with Kaiju 9, which if this episode takes place during episode 5, like I kind of say it, assume it does, they haven't been introduced to that information yet, because it's still a couple more episodes until they cross paths officially. Well, specifically Ichikawa and Iharu and Kafka. Oh wait, well, to be fair, it's they ran into it with Kikuru, but it was in its Kaiju form, it was in its human form, and once again, Kafka's constitution is a little different. Either way, I'm going on a massive tangent, but they're following him around, and I do like that he runs into was it Kikuru, was it Igarashi and Minase? They have a dinner reservation or lunch reservation they have, and he drops them off there. He also meets up with Aoi and Haruichi, who are trying to buy a camping set, and I love that both Haruichi and Aoi, both because they are the different perspectives and backgrounds that they have. Haruichi's just looking at it oh yeah, we'll just have a calm, cool setting, but so it's oh, this type seems like a good type because it fits what we're trying to do. But Aoi's perspective is that's going to be something you're going to have to lug around, and it's going to be super inconvenient, and it's not the most effective means because you're going to have to be lugging it around for days on days, when you're just on a mission or whatever. And it was actually Hoshina being oh, this is actually the cheaper option, it's the better option. So it's interesting because it's and then I guess that's kind of their perspectives, where it's Aoi is just a very rough and tumble, he's got the soldier mentality, where Haruichi's I'm looking at it from the relaxation perspective, because he's kind of the chill, calm, calculated one. He also, before all that, he was on a mission for Mina. He was getting some dried squid. I initially was is she, because she's smiling when she asked him to get it, so I'm wondering is she secretly getting that for Kafka? Or just so she could share with Kafka? I don't know. It might be a thing of she just might have history with those snacks, and it might be her and Kafka have history with those snacks. I don't remember that coming up at all, any dried squid stuff in the show. Not unless that's something from the manga that wasn't referenced. Maybe it's something we'll get kind of reference to, or wink or nods to in season 2. Because it kind of reminds me of in Mob Psycho 100, the first OVA episode in between season 1 and season 2 involved, spoilers, Reagan writing a book. And it's not like the biggest thing, but it does come up little detail wise in the like in season 2. It gets referenced here and winked and nodded to. So I'm wondering if like if it didn't come up during season 1, which I don't remember it coming up, but it could be something set up for the future that it is, like I said, something special between Mina and Kafka. So just something interesting to kind of keep in mind before season 2. By the time it does come out, I am forgetful enough that I probably will end up sadly not remembering. But yeah, like, because they initially thought, like, oh, like, was he doing it for Mina? But it's like, Ichikawa was like, okay, it wasn't for a girlfriend, but Iharu's like, no. I said he did it for a lady, but he did. But it's like, no, that doesn't count. It's for Mina. It's for me. She asked him to do it, but that wasn't his real thing. I was thinking like it would be something. Ends up being something serious, but I thought it would be something extra serious, specifically revolving around his family. Like we learned a tiny bit about Hoshina in season 1. Obviously, at least the whole angle of he comes from a very long lineage of like sword users and stuff, but swords are kind of a relic of the past, specifically when it comes to the warfare against kaijus, because it's more about guns, but he has a low synchronization or being able to kind of tap into with guns. So it's kind of like, yeah, swords aren't really the way to go against large kaiju, so it's kind of like you're not that effective. Once again, I'm retreading season 1, but I thought whatever he was up to might have some correlation or connection with that. I mean, it more so has to deal with the entirety of like kaiju, like prevention and stuff like that. But either way, I love that the crews ultimately ended up meeting up, just randomly crossing paths. And I love like the little moment where it's like, here you guys are trying to track Hoshina, and it's like, oh, boys are still idiotic. But then like you have Kikaru being like, oh, where's Kafka? Doesn't he have a day off too? And Iharu's like, oh, that's interesting. You got his schedule memorized. She's embarrassed. She's like, no. I just figured he'd be here or whatever. And I was like, that's actually really adorable. That is like, yeah, you know his schedule enough to know that he's got the day off. Because I guess because she was there when everyone was checking like the calendar and stuff, so she probably overheard the conversation, even saw like, oh, today is his day off. So, but she's like, yeah, I didn't want to have to like, I just noticed that I didn't have to like, smell that smelly old man, yada yada yada, making excuses. It's actually really adorable. But they happen to watch, because everyone's united, and they end up watching Hoshina meet with some very shady, Yakuza looking dude, and they make some exchange. And Haruichi's the one that's kind of like, hey, maybe he's selling some of their equipment to the black market, because, right, running the whole, like, division and the whole operations about the defense force, it's like, it's a very costly thing. So he's like, oh, maybe he's selling some extra equipment or older equipment to them to pay and fund our whole operations, which Iharu's so disappointed in him. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna have to beat him up until he sees the right side of things. And Haruichi's like, no, that's not true. And then like Igarashi and Minase is like, oh my god, criminal stuff is so wrong. And everyone's down on this path of like, oh, he must be doing something illegal, but we gotta bring him back to the path of light. And he was hoping like, okay, Aoi, thank God you're like the voice of reason too. But he's like, no, if this ends up being the case, if we find out that's the truth, we're going to have to like handle this a certain way. And it's just like, oh boy, everyone's kind of swept up in this. So they end up kind of looking for him after he disappears, and then they randomly find him like fiddling with a cat. And then he's like, oh, so you guys were following me, you must have saw everything go down. Oh well, I guess you'll just have to help. And then we find out the truth. Because once again, of course it was never going to be anything shady, but like I said, I thought it was going to be something personal. But it kind of is. Basically, it's revolving around a prevention center in, was it Tachikawa is the place? Because that's the place that gets rated in episodes 8 and 9, right? Well, 8, 9, and 10, right? I believe that's, yeah, because that's like the main base of operations that kind of get busted up. But either way, it's a prevention center for like kids to come in. It's meant to almost be like this. It's an exhibit. Like there's some games there. Like one of them is based around Mina's like sniping. Hoshina offered some old weapons for his to be put on display, and it's like cool. There's like a Hoshina like VR like game set up too, which he doesn't. He feels kind of bashful about it because he's like, "Oh, you guys are treating me like a star. I'm not." Because they're like, "Oh, could we get your signature here or something?" He's like, "No, no, no, no." We find out that scary looking Yakuza guy is actually a former member of the third division. So I wondered how long ago did he leave? Um, that's kind of interesting thing to explore too, like what like the well, how many of the former division members of like any unit of the defense force in general have like regular lives afterwards? Like, what happens? Like, do you just join like the Sinistery afterwards? Because he's part of, oh god, I'm blanking on the name, but basically it's like he's the vice president of this like this whole operation of like defense like preparation and stuff like that. It's about like, hey, this whole thing, it's meant to be kind of fun for the kids, but it's also meant to be like a tactical thing of at a very young age kind of letting them know the know-hows of like, right, this is what we do during kaiju events. Learning at a very young age makes a lot of sense. It's no different from, hey, you're in school, you learn about fire drills and earthquake drills because those are real things you'll have to potentially deal with. And in a world where kaijus can pop up at any point in time and they're becoming more and more frequent, then it's like, yeah, kids got to be prepared from a young age. Even saying like, right, this facility could basically be around for new recruits in the future potentially, which is kind of a sad thing that it's just a sad reality. But the gangster dudes like, well, the gangster looking dude, the former third division guys, like, but their ideal is to make it so that when these kids grow up, they're going to be growing up in the world where that won't even be necessary. That all the kaiju will be wiped out, and that's not a world that they will have to live in the long run. So I thought that was kind of neat. But I appreciated, all the characters helping out with the kids, looking after them, playing with them. But like I said, the deeper thing being like, oh, it's all like connected to like, yeah, you're having fun, but it's also about learning stuff about the kaiju like prevention and protection stuff. But then nearby kaiju like strikes. It's only like a 3.8, but the others want to back Hoshina up. And they're just like, they're not going to take no for an answer. He's like, oh, you guys are a bunch of workaholics, which Ichikawa teases him because he's like, ayo, like, you say that, but Hoshina, you've got your suit on underneath your clothes. It's like, you are the same as us. You don't, well, the same as Ichikawa, funny enough, being like, you don't know what to do on your day off either. He's a bit of a workaholic himself. So always working, because even though it's like outside of work, it's still related to work. It's about kind of community like building, essentially looking after like the next generation of kids in this world. So just thought that was kind of interesting, just kind of a nice little, like I said, side episode, an episode ending with them all going off to deal with the kaiju. So just thought that was just a nice little sweet extra episode to kind of tie in between season 1 and season 2. So, oh yeah, I also forgot. He also got herbal medicine for Kafka because he saw like Kafka the night before scarfing stuff down. Plus him not being here, he's like, I put two and two together. It's like, wait, when did you pick this up? Oh, back at the like department store when I was picking up the dried squid snacks. And Ichikawa was like, oh my god, he knew we were there the entire time. I was like, of course, like you guys thought you were that stealthy, running around, especially like trying to hide yourselves just because you're wearing your like motorcycle helmets. It's like, Jesus, you guys aren't that good. You're few years short from being, able to get one up on Hoshina in that regard. So, but yeah, I'm very excited for season 2. We've got like what 14 more days at a time of recording this. So excited. Oh yeah, 2 weeks from now. Interesting. Huh. Either way, like I said, very, very excited for season 2. I don't know what to expect from season 2 because I didn't read the manga, nor did I watch the trailer. So I'm kind of going into season 2 knowing as little as possible. But I'm excited to see where things take us. And like I said, how much of any of this kind of carries over. Like I said, it's kind of just a for fun exploration of Hoshina, a little bit more extra, like I said, kind of almost like outreach stuff that he's doing. But also, like, it might be other little details, like, finding out about former 3rd Division members or other Defense Force members, seeing what they're up to and what they're doing outside of the Division Force to help, not the Division Force, but the Defense Force doing what they can to help the world in their own way. So, yeah, just little details like that is kind of neat. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.